RCMP could easily identify officers accused of sexual assault, says former Supreme Court Justice. Like the Catholic Church, they just move them to another parish. I have a list of RCMP officers who have been found guilty up to 15 times. Those people have been promoted.
Here's a summary of the article.
The Royal Canadian Mounted Police is aware of, or could at least easily identify, the officers accused in some of the most egregious cases of sexual assault in the service, former Supreme Court of Canada Justice Michel Bastarache told MPs tonight. His appearance before the Standing Committee on National Security comes 2 weeks after he released a scathing report on sexual harassment in the RCMP. Bastarache was tasked with independently assessing the claims made as part of the Merlo-Davidson settlement. They include women who experienced sexual harassment and gender or sexual orientation-based discrimination while working for the Mounties. The level of violence and sexual assault that was reported was shocking. Indeed, over 130 claimants disclosed penetrative sexual assaults, Bastarache's report says. Over the past 4 years, Bastarache said, he and his team conducted 644 interviews of current or former female employees of the RCMP. Harassment remains present in many areas of the organization. Worse still, disrespectful conduct has been perpetrated and condoned at every level of the hierarchy, he told the committee. When the report was published late last month, RCMP Commissioner Brenda Lucki promised sexual harassment in the service would not be tolerated. There are calls for an independent review following a report into sexual harassment within the RCMP. The report's author described the accounts as shocking, and as signs of systemic problems with misogyny, racism and homophobia.
This post received a score of 14,000, with an upvote ratio of 97%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Exact thing happened near me. One RCMP officer got caught for dropping tickets for sexual favors. He also stalked women he found appealing and used the police database to run their plates to get their home addresses. Once caught, he got put back into the shuffle. Last I heard, he was still working.
I literally yesterday got in an argument about people allowing unfettered access to their house cameras for the police, and some people couldn't possibly see how a cop might use those cameras to harass or stalk someone. Like they don't look up people on their own or anything. I dated this bartender a couple years back who had a cop who was crushing on her show up at her house out of the blue to check on her, and when asked how he found her house, he just straight admitted that he ran her plate and looked her up. She never felt safe after, and we ended up breaking up when she moved states to be rid of him.
Brutal. This is exactly how this cop I mentioned got caught. He started running plates with no justification. Just looking for hot chicks' addresses.
What's crazy is it isn't just the address. You can find all their info, including next of kin, phone numbers, marital status etc. All of which can be used to harass someone easily. Imagine being the neighbor of a cop and you get in some little dispute and he goes in and decides to look up anything and everything on you to harass you. This happens every single day all over the country. Yet people are confused when there is an outpour of hatred toward police.
Well, then surely the bunch is spoiled by now.
Who do you think moved him around every time they did something fucked up? The bunch was spoiled from the start, or they would have immediately faced consequences.
You mind if we see that list?
They obviously won't release it, but it's okay for them to publish every offense you make in the newspaper as long as you're 18.
More like every offense you're accused of.
This is why no one actually trusts the justice system. In the end, it is just US.
Intoned death and shrugged his bony shoulders. I imagine this being said by Susan from the Discworld series. I think Death's actual quote was, "There is no justice. There's just me."
And further in the book, either he or Mort says just US, as both a callback and a pun. Man, I love the Discworld series.
Best ever. So glad I got my daughter hooked on these books as well. Good parenting, I'd say, winking face.
It is insane how abusive the authorities are. Have any of you seen the show 60 Days In? Some of the cops inside the prisons are straight evil to the inmates. The latest season they have this female corrections officer who stripped girls naked and left them for hours, pepper sprayed a girl point blank in the face, tormented and taunted the same girl in her cell for the rest of the night. I know criminals need to check for their actions, but these cops and corrections officers seem to be the real evil abusive bad guys.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.